All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. This is episode two of my five episode series that I'm doing called Members of Remembering. Welcome. So I'm very happy to have you here. It's crazy that this is my second episode because so often I start things and then they never are like that's all there is to it. I start and there's only a beginning. But with this, I really want to stick to my own discipline and loyalty towards myself to um, keep going with this. I know that again, the setup isn't ideal because because of the backlight. Sorry about that. At the same time, let's interpret this as an artistic decision. You know, no one decides what I can and cannot do. Um, so yeah, today I have a few other things to talk about. As you could have said from the title, on being trans and being seen, um, I would like to allow me to give a brief introduction um, about why I think that this is a relevant topic within the scope of the series that I'm making. Yeah, so in my previous episode, I briefly touched upon the books by Neil Donald Walsh that have made a great impact on my life. Like, it really changed my life. I would highly recommend. This series is called Conversations with God. Um, and one of the items in this book that I really draw a lot of inspiration from and that I apply in a lot of my own life and my own philosophy is the concept that we exist in a realm of relativity. In easy words, we're here because we need one thing in order to have the other thing, left, right, above, below. Um, you can fill in the rest. But one of the polarities, basically, or relations or relativities that I can see is, for example, masculinity, femininity, man, woman. Like, in a way, you only really can see and point at what a woman is if you also know what a man is, and vice versa, and how they differ, complement each other, etc. Um, and from this perspective, through this lens, I also really appreciate my own trans identity as a trans woman because I have not always existed in this form. Like, this has been a conscious process decision. Of course, being trans is not a choice, but the way that you transition is. Um, and yeah, so in that way, I feel very grateful to have lived in a different form so that I now truly know what it means to be me. And to know who you are is to express who you are, and that really means existing to me. Um, and that relates to the remembering that that's really the theme of these episodes because expressing yourself, really coming into your own identity, is a remembering of who you are. And I relate to that in my own story because, as a kid, for example, I was just a kid. I didn't really think about a lot about all these gender things or about my identity. I just existed. And then you grow older, and the world tells you what you should and shouldn't be. And my trans identity, or me coming, is basically me coming back to myself, a returning, a remembering. And yeah, I feel very devoted to that and to being myself. So, yeah, that's a little bit about how that relates. I yeah, I'm suddenly thinking about this quote that I really would love to share. If any other trans people are watching or listening, I this really made me feel a lot better about my process, if that makes sense. And the quote is as follows. I'm doing this by heart. God created trans people in this for the same reason that He created grapes but not wine, wheat but not bread, so that humanity could share and take part in the act of creation. So beautiful because being trans is to take part in the act of creation because you're creating yourself in a way. It's a very conscious way of living to me. Um, and that is applicable on anybody's life. Like, you don't have to be trans to create and to self create. Um, but it is really beautiful to me to perceive it in that way. Because, yeah, like I said, self creation is very important to me. I don't want to loop too many things that I'm saying. Hold on. Um, but yeah, you can only self create, of course, if you also know what you are not. Like, you need the options to choose from to really know which one of them you are. So that's why I really implore everyone to just try things out, even if you're not fully sure about something, um, just in general in life, because by doing, you will know. Um, and if something is not you, you will probably know quickly enough, or soon, rather sooner than later, that it's not you, and then it brings you closer to who you really are. So I think that's very beautiful. Yeah. Now, why I think this relates to feeling seen, I think so. In my personal experience, in my with my empirical knowledge, life really is a kind of like a vibration or a loop of remembering and forgetting and remembering again. And the remembering again is always my favorite part. Like, it's so incredible, but you have to forget first before you can remember again. So it's that returning to the self. It's kind of like so many things in life, you know? Like, I always see it as kind of a vibration. What goes up must come down. Almost everything is a vibration, of course. And yeah, there's just so many synchronicities in seeing things as a vibration to me. Um, but yeah, then the remembering who you are is just one. That's one thing because you can know it conceptually. You can remember again that you are so many great, amazing things. Like, you are so kind, so amazing, so incredible, so loving, so friendly, so happy, so joyful, so energetic, so daring, so bold, so beautiful. You are very beautiful. I hope you know. Um, but just knowing them, that's one thing. Amazing that you know it. But to experience them and to know it through experience, that is where you really embody yourself and where the knowledge turns from conceptual to empirical. And I think that's why we're here, essentially. And to, again, share something a bit more personal and about my trans experience, in a way, like, of course, I would know my own identity, but that's not enough. I have to live it and show the world who I am. So that's why I felt like I had to transition as a trans person. I could know that I'm a woman, but there's not really much body to that if I don't do anything with that. Funny thing is, however, at a certain point in my transition, I arrived at a place where more and more I was able to pass. For those who don't know, pass in trans terminology means to be read as just any other regular regular, that's also not the right phrasing. Basically, that people on the street, strangers, will meet you and they will intuitively assume that you're a cisgender, so that I would be a cisgender woman. Um, I have been in situations where this would have been the case, where people didn't know that I was trans. And initially, when I was so much younger, I always thought that this was, in a way, the ultimate goal, like everything I ever wanted. Like, then I would really flesh out most of my own womanhood or something. And um, at present, I have a very different perspective of this, because in those moments that I was seen that way, um, I actually felt anything but seen. Yes, it was affirming in a way to exist and to be recognized for my own identity, my gender identity, but uh, it was only part of the story. People not knowing that I'm trans is the worst to me. It's the worst. Like, if I really want to connect to someone, if I really want to show myself or for someone to know me, um, they would have to know so much about my journey, where I come from, and my trans identity and my queerness. And I feel so dull and mitigated or so small if I feel like I'm pretending to be something that I'm not. And um, yeah, part for me of remembering who I am and wanting to be seen is about owning my trans identity so deeply, because that's how I feel like I can be seen. And I hope that you also find ways that you can be seen more. And it's a bit of a contradictory, or like not contradictory, but a paradoxical, tricky thing, because being seen can also flip towards the other side, where you're very reliant on um, what are the other people's perspectives or how they perceive you. And that's not what should influence, of course, influence or dictate even who you are. That's the worst. Um, but, uh, there's a difference in those who matter and those who don't. I often think about the quote, uh, those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. Take from that whatever resonates and how it relates to what I'm saying. Um, but yeah, to me, being seen is being recognized for who I am. Um, to share myself with the people that I care about, to share myself with the people who have the correct receptors to interpret who I am. Because not everybody has the capacity to see you. Some people are limited. Some people see a very different reality of the world, and they would never be able to fully grasp the scope of who you are. And then there's no use in trying. And I find that revelation very liberating. Um, uh, so that being said, being seen really fleshes out part of your identity more than just knowing, living. So you have like knowing who you are, existing and living who you are, and then the third level is being seen for who you are. And that's a holy trinity of having an identity, I would say. Um, I think that's mainly what I wanted to share and discuss with you today. Um, I really hope that I'm even, I mean, that I'm visible because of the backlight? I'll see and I'll check later. If not, it's also very fine, because I know that the people who this message is for, it will find. And yeah, I don't know yet what my next episode will be. Like I said before, I'm aiming to create at least 5 episodes of Members of Remembering. And this is my second already. I'm so joyful to do this and to have you here. And I'm saying that especially because in my previous episode, in my first episode, I mainly had like a motive to just do it for myself, or like I said earlier, to stay loyal to my own discipline, to flesh out this little project. But in a week time, it might sound small, but I saw that I have 9, to be exact, subscribers. Thank you all so much. Like it means more than I have. It means more to me than I have words for. Because I'm like, I don't know. I was just like, what? You guys like what I'm saying? Yeah, it's the internet is a crazy thing because we're strangers, yet I'm in your room and you're in mine. It's a wonderful, impossible to me to grasp reality that we're living. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you again so much for listening, for watching. I think next week I'll be back. I'm aiming for that outcome. Next week I'll be back, uh, right here, with the third episode of Members of Remembering. Whoa, I don't know what type of intervention this was, but suddenly my camera turned off. My camera died in the middle of my sentence. Even though was the last sentence that I wanted to be saying, all I wanted to be saying was, until next time, remember who you are and stay beautiful. Bye.